Oluwale Osaze Uzi joins us from our Abuja studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Osaze Uzi, for joining us on the program. I know the chairman has been talking to several people from political parties, to stakeholders, to journalists about the plans ahead. He's been talking about a permanent voter card. But tell us, we've seen this increase in the issues of nullification, annulment of elections. What does the Commission think is the major cause of this?
Well, thank you very much for having me on this evening. Good evening. We think the issue of the permanent voters' cards and smart card readers has made a significant difference to our electoral process, and has shown the competitiveness between the various political parties. Admittedly, there are so many of these elections being nullified, but you have to look at the reasons for the nullification, one, and secondly, you have to look at the margins between the two major political parties, or between the different parties. In Plateau State, for example, 2 of the nullified elections had to deal with just 1 polling unit. So 1 polling unit can make a significant difference in our electoral process today. One also in Kogi State, you have a state constituency election that hangs on the thread of 1 polling unit. This never used to be the case. Prior to now, the Electoral Act is quite clear as to the mode of showing accreditation. All you have to do is tick the register. So when you go to court or the tribunal and you tender the register to show that X number of people were ticked, that is satisfied. But there's this auditory trail produced by the card reader. So the card reader now said, look, you must not only look at the total number of ticked registrants on the voters register, but also you must look at the download from the smart card reader. Whereas you can manipulate the register, you cannot manipulate the smart card printout. So the smart card reader totals the number of people who have actually come for accreditation. Okay. And when you look at that, add that to the number of those whose biometrics could not be read, it should match that total number of ticks that you have in the register. Where this is not so, then it calls to question the genuineness of the total number of accreditation and therefore the genuineness of that particular election in that particular polling unit. So some of these are the issues that were brought to the fore in these judgments. And then where there's doubt, you exercise in favor of the petition and say, look, if we're not sure this reflected exactly what happened at the polling unit, then you might have to go back and reconduct that election until we get it right.
Interesting. The card reader has been a major introduction by INEC, and of course it's been a major discussion across several sectors concerned with Nigeria elections. That has also been at the center of the cases, the election tribunal and election cases in court at the moment. Lagos State election, Rivers State election, Akwa Ibom State election, that has been at the center of it. What most people have discovered about the card reader is that at some point it will accept the fingerprint, but at some point it will not verify. As INEC improved on that technology ahead of some of the elections that we're looking forward to in 2016.
Yes, we believe we have. If you look at the supplementary election in Bayelsa State, for example, all the reports point to the fact that the smart card readers worked quite well. So the challenges that you had in some other places did not actually occur, for example, at that last election. The smart card reader does a lot of things, but the most important thing for as far as most people are concerned is, does it read my biometrics? But that's not necessarily the only thing it does. All the 3 other things it does, the disaggregated production of that disaggregated data, the reading of the card to ensure that it's a smart card and issued by INEC, and then the transmission, all work quite well. So now looking at, we have gone back, the technical people are looking at how well can we improve this part of it. And you know how technology works. Very often you pick up your phone and you try to make a call. Sometimes you have dropped calls so often. or you use an ATM machine and you go to the ATM card and it doesn't work. Sometimes it tells you it's just get the money, but you don't get the cash and things like that. So technology is a work in progress. We keep trying to improve as much as we possibly can on it. Yes.
I know at this moment, tell me, the INEC is usually copied in some of the petitions that are raised about election, apart from political parties at each other's neck. Tell me, just your legal team, what is it like in terms of these election petitions? And of course, we've shown the kind of figures that 611 petitions in INEC. What are the nature of these petitions?
Well, first of all, let's get something right. By law, INEC must be a respondent. INEC is joined in every petition. Every petition, INEC by law is joined. So even in cases, pre-election cases, INEC also, to be bound by the order, is joined as a party. So that's it. We do have a consortium of very senior lawyers. First of all, we have an in-house team, quite a capable team led by a senior advocate of Nigeria, employed by the Commissioner, legal officers of the Commission, and we have legal officers in every state. They're supported by a legal consortium of 5 senior advocates of Nigeria and several juniors, but also we use external solicitors to assist us because the legal team in INEC cannot cope with the total number of petitions and pre-election cases filed.
All right.
So these are the people who are the frontline soldiers for us in terms of legal work to be done by the Commission.
Interesting. So there's a huge budget for that aspect for INEC out of all the budgets made for the Commission, isn't it?
Well, there is a budget. Whether it's huge, I really don't know. But in the face of conflicting priorities of government, we usually don't get as much money as we absolutely need. So it's an admixture of employing private legal practitioners and using our own in-house resources to also defend all petitions.
All right, Mr. Oluwole, let me bring in an election observer here, of course, experts in the monitoring of elections in Nigeria. Abiodun Ajijola is the coordinator of election monitor. He joins us from Akure, the capital of Ondo State. Thank you so much, Mr. Abiodun Ajijola, for joining us on the program. Give us a sense of what you and your team have put together in terms of making sense of the issues of petitions, because the very major one that the INEC chairman has brought out, pointed out about the nullified elections, which is way higher than what we've seen in 2011 and 2007. 2011 and 2007. What sense have you made up of this?
Having me on your program. First of all, we have seen the information that has been released, the data. Thank you for your wonderful presentation earlier on. It's clear that from 2007 to 2015, there has been a sharp decline by about 50%, or even less than 50%, more than 50% of the number of people that have gone for election petitions. As you said, in 2007, it was 1,290. And then 2011, it dropped to 732. And then 2015, it dropped even further to 611. Now, when you see the fact that it has dropped from 1,290 to 611, it clearly shows you that the people who takes cases to court usually are great candidates. You know, if a candidate loses an election, the candidate feels that he was probably wrongfully denied or whatever. He was he feels it was unfair. He wants to contest it. So a candidate would seek to go to court in order to challenge the election result. So where you have the number of people going to court to challenge election results dropping by over 50% within a space of 8 years, it shows you that generally the candidates and the politicians that are involved in the elections actually are having an increase in the confidence that they have in the election result. Because if the confidence the candidates and politicians are having is still very high, then you expect much more election petitions. But once politicians and candidates are of the opinion that the election result relatively represents what is supposed